roll call, please.
Mayor Parton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Joyner.
Here.
Counselor Harris. Here. Counselor Ellis.
Here.
Counselor Day.
Here.
Counselor Wheat.
Here.
Counselor Rapoli. Here. We have a quorum.
All right. We got perfect attendance. All right. No remote motions. Do I have a motion to go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3, 8, and 29 to discuss the acquisition or disposition of real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body, the award of a public contract where discussion in open session would adversely affect the city's bargaining position, and to consult with legal counsel regarding specific legal matters, real estate contract discussions, support agreement with the EDA, lease for city department offices, 2.2-3711A1 and 8, to discuss personnel matters including city clerk, Beacon Theater Board, Hopewell Water Renewal, and the Recreation Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay. Councilor Rapoli has made the motion and has been seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis.
Yeah.
Counselor Day.
Yes.
Counselor Wheat.
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner.
Yes.
Counselor Harris. Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Session. Do I have a motion to come out of closed meeting?
So move.
All right. Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Councilor Rapoli. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Day.
Yes.
Counselor Wheat.
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Certification, please.
Certification under Virginia Code 2.2-3712D, where only public business matters, 1, lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements, and 2, identified in the closed meeting motion discussed in the closed meeting. Counselor Ellis.
Yes.
Counselor Day.
Yes.
Counselor Wheat.
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner.
Yes.
Counselor Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. This is the first time I think I've seen more staff here than citizens in a good long while. But it's good to see everybody. And we will start off with the city manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening. I want to first begin by acknowledging the hard work of this council during the process of searching for a city manager, and that ended in a successful search. And council later tonight will be presented with and vote on a contract for the new city manager and make that appointment. So I've been involved in a number of searches with councils, and y'all worked real hard, through this process. I mean, and it was a multi-step process. So we're proud of the collegiality that existed during the process, and we got a good result. So, but thank you for that, Mr. Mayor. You want to introduce your city manager?
Yes. Tonight we have Mr. Vincent Jones. I believe I saw him out in the hall.
Right there.
All the way in the back row, the man of the hour. But do you mind just standing real quick for us? This is our new city manager, starting in, I believe it's May 3rd. Later we will, in the meeting, be voting to appoint you. And we're real excited to have you. And I can say that, I'm glad to see that we got a good William & Mary graduate.
Yes.
Second favorite school in Virginia. But you bring a lot of great experience. You bring a plethora of knowledge. And we're very, very excited to have you starting in May.
Mr. Mayor, it's a full agenda tonight, and under the city manager's report, there are a couple of other items. We have the February financials from Ms. Jordan. We also have our treasurer and our commissioner of revenue who will be presenting tonight. So let's start with Ms. Jordan.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. This is the February Finance Committee meeting report. Citywide financials for February. My thing is cut off. Revenues are trending 0.11 or 8.4 million higher for 26 versus 25. Expenses for February are trending 1.19 or
8.4.
thank you. 8.4 million higher for 26 versus 25. Key dates for the city of Hopewell are December, February, May, and June. Increase in expenses stem from the annual class and comp study increases as well as increase in school, enterprise, and capital expenses. Any questions on citywide? General fund for February is trending 1.39 million higher in revenues for 26 versus 25. Expenses for 26 are trending 4.63.
1.6.
Thank you. 1.6 lower than 25. Increased expense stems from increase in class and comp study. Overall, we are still trending better for 26 than 25, about $3 million. Enterprise fund for February, revenues are trending 5.4 million higher than 26 than 25. For 26, expenses are trending 9.9 million higher in expenses. Revenues stem from on-time and capital billing, which is being billed up front versus at the end of the fiscal year. An increase in expenses stem from capital projects as well as maintenance compared to last year's spend of $5.6 million, $1.5 million. The same time last fiscal year, we've already spent $5.6 million for capital projects for the plant. All right, for our schools is trending 1.3 million higher in revenues for 26 versus 25, and expenses are trending 5.2 million higher in 26 versus 25. There was a decrease in their federal revenues received for their ESSER grant, which was considered their COVID monies. And second quarter Head Start, we're still waiting for reimbursement from the schools on that piece right there. Salary saving allocations.
Excuse me real quick.
Sure.
Did you have
I had a question.
Okay.
If we can just.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So where we are waiting for the reimbursement, do we expect that to be in this physical year?
Yes, they have to. Janelle's just running a little bit behind with reimbursement requests.
But
to
it
the
will
state.
be this physical year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And it's almost time for third quarter as well, so. Salary savings, allocation. General fund salary savings, about $876,000. We're requesting that we can allocate the funds to the audits. Previously, we were only budgeting about $205,000 per year, but because we've been pushing the audits through, we need an additional about $615,000 for this year so that we can finish paying for the completion of our audits.
Right.
Commissioner of Revenue Security Upgrade Barrier, $25,000. We're asking to use the salary savings towards that. Also, their office charges, which is about $4,000. Fire sewer line at Station 2, $50,000. Water leak at Station 1, $105,000. And the sheriff office radio is $80,000. Their system is outdated at this point, and they need a new radio system. If it's not covered by Comp Board and ICE, we had a meeting with the sheriff's office, and they have already looked into the Comp Board. The Comp Board will now allocate additional monies to them for the radio system, and I don't believe the ICE funding can be used towards that either. Okay. As far as the enterprise fund, the $166,000 will go towards HRW pump and tank repairs, $63,000 towards sewer pump repairs, and $24,000 towards refuse service contracts.
One question for you,
Sure.
for Ms. Jordan. I know in part of our policies and procedures, we talked about trying to utilize savings to help add and augment our undesignated fund balance, and then also the reserve funds. Are we able to do anything with that?
Not currently. The
Okay.
salary savings we currently have that are going towards additional expenses that we need for right now. But as we move closer towards the end of the year, we will be able to allocate our savings, revenues over expenses towards our financial policies.
Okay.
Okay. For February, invoices paid 1,185 for a total of $5.4 million, and we are 71% paid so far with our debt, and we have a $2.1 million remaining to pay for the rest of the fiscal year. The 25 ACFR is due to be completed in March 31st of this year. We do not see anything holding us up as of yet. We just had another updated meeting with David, and we're moving quite along well. Also, we have been talking about the opportunity for additional funding for the HAVACs for the schools. Later on this afternoon, when Jimmy comes up to present the diagnostic, he'll also talk about the opportunities that we have coming up.
Okay, great.
Would that be for the HVAC systems?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jordan. And Mr. Yancey, very pleased to have a treasurer's report. We'd like, I think it's a good practice to have the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue come and be a part of this process from time to time, and I'm glad they have agreed to do so.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, rest of council. This is just the collection summary from the last 3 years, just to kind of tell us where we've been, where we're going, and hopefully how we can improve. All right, so for real estate in 2023, the total adjusted billed $21,354,779.86. The in receivable, $140,000 left. So we were at a 99.27% collection rate. 24, $22,179,961.65. We ended up at a 98.5% collection rate for 2024. And then again to 2025, a little bit lower at 96.45% on real estate. For personal property, 2023, we were at a 96.25% collection rate. 2024, 94.48, and last year we were at 89.7 with an in receivable of over $2.1 million. And for business license, 2023, we're at 99.63. 2024, bit of an increase, 99.77% collection rate. And then 2025, 95.99. However, those are still being collected as of April 1st. It will be the deadline. So we're still growing. That number is still going up. As far as our banking accounts, a little over $7.5 million as of 3/18. Special welfare, $124,000. Data integrators account, $5,600. School board cafe, $333. Beacon Theater, just under $50,000, and the EMS revenue recovery at $57,890. And then for our investment accounts, these are just a few of them until the numbers get updated in April. The Capron portfolio, a little over $6 million. The LGIP, just over $9 million. And then the U.S. Bank sewer system, $377,000, and then Schwab was just over $6 million in our investment accounts.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Jason,
Yes,
in terms of that 3 or 4% that's uncollected,
Yes, sir.
we talked about the aggressive actions that you're taking.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's
Might want to share that.
yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple collections agencies with real estate and with personal property. A lot of people are familiar with TACS. We use those for personal property. And we're starting to crack down. The post office has been a big issue on these uncollected amounts. We've been trying to work with them as well. I met with a House delegate as well for Congress, and she was familiar with the U.S. postal issues as well. So we're constantly working on that. We're looking at sending more notices, reaching out with TACS and our other collections for real estate, Jason Dunn's office, to try to be a little bit more aggressive on these approaches, send out more notices, and just try to get the word out, because a lot of people are unfamiliar. We get a lot of phone calls saying that they never received a bill or they never received a notice. So we're trying to increase those notices to let people know, that way they don't go unnoticed and uncollected.
Councilor Rapoli and then Vice Mayor Joyner.
And that was actually my question. See that collection was trending down, and do we see that continuing, or do you think it'll rise?
Oh,
back
no,
up?
ma'am, it's going to rise. I can promise you.
Thank you.
Can you be more specific when you say postal issues? I mean, are these just the fact that they're just notices are getting lost, or what?
Yes. Just today, I got an original 2022 personal property bill returned to us of $316.26. The original 2022, not a supplemental, not resent. It just now made it back to our office, $316 of 26.
Did it make it back? Because why did it come back?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. It's most of the time its addresses aren't valid, but then we can resend it to the same one and it'll get there. It's
Okay.
a mess. So
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Thank you.
And our Commissioner of Revenue is a very important part of our finance team, and so we've got Ms. Debbie Reason and her assistant, Amanda.
Amanda will be presenting.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm going to start with our revenue estimates for personal property. As you can see, I put on 2025 and 2026 that was just reported in December, but I trend seeing that going with license fees about $7.1 million. Next slide. Machinery and tools is increasing, as you can see, about 9.8 to 10.1 million. And this is not including the rebates. You'll see that on the next slide that we back to the manufacturers. And this would be the machinery and tool rebates that we issue them a check at the end of the year after both halves are paid for expansions on the plants and manufacturers. Public service is reported to us by the State Corporation Commission, and you can see on here it is, the estimates is 4.9, and that has increased to about 5.5 million. And that it's probably going to stay about the same, maybe it'll increase a little bit. Next is going to be the business licenses. And that has decreased because the amount of businesses have decreased a little bit, but I actually see that trending back up since I just was running some reports downstairs. Mm-hmm. And just to let y'all know, let me pull that for you, please.
Good.
Ms. Kidd, I know
Yes.
that this is an item that you guys are still working on, and it deals with I think it's going to be more 2027 than it will probably this one. But I know that you guys are doing the work now for it. Have you guys come out with a draft for the restructuring of business licenses?
That's been mentioned to me. I haven't
Okay.
done that yet, but I know
Okay.
that's in the works.
Okay.
And I'm going to be working with the city with that.
Okay.
Okay? Oh, can I please pull that? Sorry. And we're looking at about 2.1 million for the businesses, actually. The amount of businesses have decreased by about 100, but the amount of money revenue coming in is increasing.
Okay.
Because of the sales
So the
volume.
gross
Yeah.
receipts gone up. Okay.
Yes.
So that
And-
number actually should be 2.1, not
Sales volume.
1.7. Okay.
I'm seeing, I think it's going to trend a little bit higher than that.
Okay,
Yes.
that's a good thing.
Food and beverage is not on the original revenue estimates that are sent, but I did include that into the next slide
Okay.
that shows how much is collected on that, just to let y'all know. Same as transient. Next slide, please. And I did conclude in there, because that's an increase that we had from 8% to 10% recently, and I just wanted y'all to know that that is increasing over the years. The trend is going up since that increase has taken place.
Okay.
Next slide. Last but not least, the brand new tax. This is a hard one, but we're at $300,000 right now, honestly. I just ran the report before we came up here, and we did not expect to actually have more than what the revenue estimates have, but it's trending a little bit over $300,000 right now.
Okay.
And that's the final.
So
Any questions?
is your forecast still about the same as when you started the process, or are you forecasting totally a bit more?
I'm forecasting a bit more.
Okay. So we start the
little bit
process
more.
with
Sorry.
working with Stacy and the departments, and we do our estimates based on a point in time. And this increased forecast in revenue, we have not incorporated in the budget that you will be presented tonight. And we leave it that way because I think that council ought to have some discretion in decisions about how to use that revenue, or whether you want to put it all into capital at some point. So that's up for further discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
No?
Thank you so
You did
much.
great.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and finally, Council Mayor, hooray for Hopewell History Celebration VA 250 signature event on June 27, 2026. The City of Hopewell will host its official VA 250 signature event, Hooray for Hopewell History Celebration, as a part of the nationwide America 250 commemoration. This full-day experience will celebrate Hopewell's role in American history, America's story, connecting its colonial origins, river-based commerce, and continued revitalization. The event will begin at lunchtime in downtown Hopewell and continue through the evening, culminating in the city's annual fireworks on the Appomattox display. Throughout the day, visitors will enjoy history-themed music on a stage along the Library Street, family-friendly activities rooted in historical themes, and strong participation from local businesses, et cetera, et cetera. We will have Charles Bennett at the next council meeting give us a more detailed background of what's going to happen on that day.
Fantastic.
Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Moving into actions resulting from the closed meeting. Do I have a motion to appoint Mr. Heath Davis, Mr. Scott Adams, Dr. Christian Volk, and Mr. Andrew Parker to the Hopewell Water Renewal Board?
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Councilor Ellis. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. At this time, do I have a motion to recognize Ms. Bashila Howard for her service to the city, and to appoint Ms. Sade Allen to be the city clerk, and to direct the city attorney to draft a contract to that effect?
So moved.
All right. All right. Motion's been made by Councilor Wheat and seconded by Councilor Day. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
At this time, is there a motion to appoint Mr. Joshua Holloway to the Recreation Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councilor Wheat and seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for office leases and lease amendments for the space in the Williams Building?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Councilor Wheat. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Repoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for office lease space in the 200 North Main Street building?
So moved. Second.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Wheat and seconded by Counselor Ellis. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Repoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
And is there a motion to approve the resolution in support of the EDA grant for site development?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Counselor Wheat. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Repoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, at this time, can I have Pastor Collier please come forward with the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by myself. Please rise.
Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, we come before your throne today asking for your wisdom, for your grace upon this body. We pray guidance, Lord, for this council, for the mayor, the vice mayor, and all members. Father, we pray that the business that is before this council will be reflected upon in such a way, God, that it looks out for the best interests of the citizens of this city. Lord, we know that all wisdom flows from you, and so we look to you for guidance. And let our conversation be seasoned with salt. And Lord, help us to be quick to listen and slow to speak, slow to get angry, but allow you, Lord, to work in the midst of this people. We pray your blessings upon this city, that God, all those that are a part of this community can feel, Lord, that they are represented by those that look out for them. And we pray blessings and guidance and direction in all business before this body. And we pray it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
I'll second that.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Wheaton, seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no light, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Wheat,
Yes.
Counselor Repoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, moving on to communications from citizens. Madam Clerk, will you please read the statement?
A communication from citizens, period, limited to a total of 30 minutes, occurs at each regular council meeting. Persons addressing council approach the microphone, give their name, and if they reside in Hopewell, their ward number. Each comment is limited to 3 minutes. No person is permitted to speak on an item scheduled for public hearing. All remarks must be addressed to the council as a body. Any person who makes personal, impertinent, abusive, or slanderous statements or incites disorderly conduct in council chambers may be barred from future communications from citizens and removed.
Okay. First person I have signed up tonight is Miss Laura Greenwood. Okay. Next person I have signed up is Mr. Ed Hauser.
I'm good.
Okay. Mr. Mark Burrows.
I'll take an opportunity. Good evening, Mark Burrows, Ward 3. So I actually wasn't going to speak tonight, and then in hearing some of the budgetary things, I had a couple of questions that I guess we as the citizens need some answers to. Number one is $25,000 for a security barrier, as well as $4,000 for office chairs for the Commissioner of the Revenue, while citing that there's no funding for the Sheriff's Department radio system. I feel that we may have gotten things skewed somewhere. When did our high needs become more important than our safety? You know, if we're sitting comfortably, but we're being robbed, it's kind of useless. I realize we have a police department as well, but if the sheriff's department radio is no longer effective and we're relying on our sheriff's department on the roads as well, that's an issue to me, that perhaps we need to deny a request for a security barrier and some chairs and start saving some money for a radio system. Just my idea of priorities. Secondly is I realize that funding is a necessary evil. And in listening to the treasurer's report, I started to realize that a lot of y'all smiled when y'all were talking about how aggressively y'all are pursuing these debts. I wish that y'all would pursue some of the issues here in Hopewell with as much energy and vigor as you do collecting the funds. I realize that some of y'all do on certain issues. Some of y'all just skirt over everything, it seems like anyway. But I wish that y'all would pursue the issues that we bring to this council with as much vigor as y'all pursue our wallets. That being said, I also understand that we need businesses in Hopewell. We need businesses to grow in Hopewell, to stay in Hopewell, to feel successful in Hopewell so that they grow and stay in Hopewell, right? Why are we issuing a refund to the businesses for their machinery and tools? Are they contributing to the city in some other means that us as the citizenry are not aware of? I don't want to run them out of town, but we the citizens are being taxed to death while they're enjoying reliefs and having privileges and benefits that us as the taxpayers are paying for, such as the access to fire and EMS, that from my understanding, they aren't contributing to help fund, to help train, to help equip, or anything like that. Not to call anyone out, just that they're, from my knowledge, the biggest in town. We need a new fire station, new training facilities. If Advent 6 would kick open their wallet a little bit, it'd help us, the citizens, a lot. And then it would justify a refund. It would justify some contribution from the city back to Advent 6.
Mr. Burris, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next is Ms. Sherrall Fuller.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and all the City of Hopewell. My name is Sherrall Fuller. I live in Ward 5. I come before Council, as y'all know, regularly to remind the citizens of the various events that are going on. Just to remind everyone, and thank you to Councilor Rapoli, tomorrow evening at 6 p.m., Ward 7 will be having its very first Neighborhood Watch meeting. It is extended beyond just Autumn Woods. It is now covering the entirety of the ward. So if you have a neighbor, even if you don't live in Ward 7, it would be greatly appreciated if you came out to support. Councilor Rapoli has done a tremendously fantastic job to get this going, to get the communication out there. So it is greatly appreciated if you all could come and support the work that she's doing, but also all the work that all the citizens of the City of Hopewell are doing to better our city. It takes all of us together. There's also a triad meeting. While it is geared towards supporting our seniors 55 and older, it is for everyone. While we are working towards getting more safety measures in place to support our seniors, we do want all of the city to feel safe. So there are some things there that are not just for seniors, but for everyone. So it would be great if everyone could come out to that. It is Thursday at the VFW, and I do apologize. Ward 7's meeting is Wednesday night at Woodlawn Baptist Church at 6 p.m. But also there is Hopping Happenings. It's at Atwater Soccer Complex, which they have worked super hard to get back up and working and to put it back together, thanks to Tabitha Martinez and the Rexon Park crew. They work very hard, and I don't know if everyone in the city realizes how hard all of our directors work and how people are actually working together to bring our city back together. Today alone, I shared with Mr. English that there were 3 videos that popped up on my TikTok For You page to just highlight businesses in the City of Hopewell. One was Brew and Blossom, the other was What the Cup, and I know it's technically technically not Hopewell, but it was the Salty Siren. But it's highlighting to people, and it's going everywhere. So people are trying to come to Hopewell. So we're doing our part, but come to the various city events so that way we can keep having more. And if you have any questions, they can reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you. What time is the Triad meeting on Thursday?
Yes, ma'am. It's at 10 a.m.
10, okay, thank you.
And I'll post that on Facebook, and I can email y'all as well. If
All right,
that's okay.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is Dan Hannon? Hannon, okay.
I will take my time. So, my name is Dan Hannon. I live in Ward 5. Just wanted to highlight agreement with the gentleman that spoke 2 people ago, and also agree with his statement of concern at how glee seemed to spread at the sort of indication of using aggression against the citizens to collect taxes. And I'll give you an example of how that aggression affects one person, which is me and my wife. So I moved here in 2022, right? Got a fixed rate mortgage. When I moved in 2022, my mortgage was $1,250, okay? In August of 2023, I got a notice of delinquency from the treasurer's office, not to my mortgage company, right? Not to my escrow agent, right to me. Well, it didn't seem like they even made an attempt to try to find where my tax money was, okay? So, notice of delinquency. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, well, that means that I'm delinquent on taxes, meaning my mortgage company hasn't cut the check yet. So that's your aggression. That was 2023. Okay, so my mortgage went up to $1,500. Fixed rate mortgage. Went from $1,250 to $1,500 overnight. Okay, that's life. So be it. August of 2024, I am reassessed, or my escrow analysis is redone, and the city, in cooperation with Virginia Housing and Development Authority, which is my mortgage holder and escrow agent, my mortgage dropped to $1,200 a month. So it went down by $300, and that's actually below what I moved in at $1,250. So it went from here to here to here, only to then reverse last August and go up to $1,550. Now, this is all maybe just, people having errors in how they do their escrow analysis, how communication happens between the city and my mortgage company, but it's very simple math. I mean, $1.17 per 100, I can do that on a napkin and figure out what my tax rate is, spread it across 12 months, and find out what my monthly liability is, right? Every 6 months since essentially I moved in, I get a notice of delinquency because my mortgage company just has not yet cut the check. That's the aggression that you think is like so appropriate, and it causes me stress, anxiety. Then my bill changes. My mortgage bill changes overnight every year, up, down, like a balloon. I'm done. Thank you.
So, yeah, Mr. Hannon, I'd like to recommend that you make an appointment with the treasurer.
Every 6 months.
We got it.
And we resolve it every 6 months, and it still happens.
Okay. All right. Moving on to regular business. The first item is R1, the appointment of the new city manager. All right. At this time, do I have a motion to appoint Mr. Vincent Jones to be the city manager of Hopewell and to approve his employment agreement as presented?
So moved.
All right.
Second?
All right. Actually, I'm going to give it to Mr. Harris. Motion's been made by Mr. Harris and seconded by Councilor Wheat. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis?
Yes.
Counselor Day?
Yes.
Counselor Wheat?
Yes.
Councilor Repoli,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Councilor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Welcome. All right. Moving on to R2, Mr. Rogers.
Yes, the City of Hopewell Employee Report. We're going to have a presentation tonight. Where's Jessica here? We do employee surveys because we want to really know what the temperature of the employees and their employee morale is in an organization. It's a good management tool. But when you ask employees their opinion and they tell you, good management requires that you listen and you do something. So what we will, the typical process, is, at least that I use, is work with the directors, go over these surveys, understand what they mean in terms of our supervisory interaction between employees and supervisors, and what it means to morale, and look at it usually pay always comes back as an issue. Communication comes back as an issue. And to work with the leaders to figure out how we can build on what we find and improve it to make this organization a more desirable place to work, and really make adjustments to how we do things. So we started the survey, I think, back in the fall in November, and we've got, I think, a little over 50% response, from our employees. That's a great response. And so tonight we will have an overview of what the survey said. We have Kara Fitzgibbon from Director of the Center for Survey Research, the Weldon Center at the University of Virginia.
Good evening. My name is Kara Fitzgibbon. I serve as the Director of the Center for Survey Research for a unit of the Weldon Cooper Center for Public Service at UVA. Even though we're housed within the university, we're very externally facing, and a lot of our work is with other agencies around the state, community organizations, as well as local governments, often doing either employee surveys like we'll speak about tonight, as well as community resident surveys. We're excited to now get to present those results to you tonight. I'll move pretty quickly, and I want to start with just an overview orienting the main aim and purpose here, as well as the design we followed, and then we'll get into those results. So generally, as Mr. Rogers noted, we're trying to get a comprehensive feedback point on how city employees feel in terms of their satisfaction generally with the city as a workplace, as well as we dove in across 23 topic areas, trying to further unpack what are the aspects within the workplace that might be shaping their experience. Additionally, with that, then looking at those areas to try to shine a light on where might be the key focal points to respond to continue to strengthen, support, and possibly improve the city as a workplace for its employees. Additionally, this information can be deeply valuable as a guiding post for action moving forward, and it's valuable as a touch point on current needs and priorities of employees. Additionally, this data can provide you a baseline so that in future years you can revisit and again, collect feedback from employees as a means to track potential changes, improvements, monitor where, again, needs and priorities might shift over time. But in and of itself, there's value in hearing how employees are doing today. Go ahead to the next slide, please. So we collected this data this past fall through an anonymous survey. We wanted to maintain anonymity to hopefully encourage response and make sure that employees felt comfortable being transparent in their experience. We heard from 52%, which is a strong response rate. And our team managed all data collection, all data processing, and reporting out to maintain that privacy of respondents. Go to the next slide, please. And now in terms of who we heard from, we asked a handful of questions both about the respondents' own background as well as their position within the city. And here's the breakdown we had across departments. So we do have a fair share across departments in terms of who responded. Next slide, please. And in terms of some of those personal demographic items, we asked gender. We're roughly evenly split within our survey respondents, as well as education. We have the majority of respondents who have earned up to a 2-year technical degree or have some college. And then by race and ethnicity, the majority of the respondents were white, followed by almost a third identifying as Black, African American. And then we also have some representation from Hispanic and multiracial or another racial category. And then in terms of their job profiles, we also asked about how long they've been working with the city. And there's fair representation or variation across categories. So we have about 1 in 5 who have been with the city less than 2 years. And we also have over a quarter who have been with the city over 15 years. We do have that representation and sort of vantage point and experience with the city. We also asked about their managerial or supervisory status, and approximately 40% of respondents are in one of those roles. And the vast majority of those who responded are full-time employees, though we do have some representation among part-time or other status, such as temp. Next slide. Oh, and I should also note that we did, and in a moment I'll present overall what are we finding and hearing from respondents, but we also looked at comparisons across some subgroups, and the categories that we'll be occasionally reporting on are comparisons where we might have seen differences between how men and women responded, between how length of employment, and between manager and supervisor versus not being in one of those roles. So in terms of, we'll call them sort of general measures, we asked 3 items that are intended to give an overview assessment of how the employees might be viewing their workplace experience. So first we asked respondents about their overall satisfaction with the city as a place to work. And we have approximately 2/3 who are satisfied or very satisfied, another quarter who are neutral, and about 1 to 10 that report being either dissatisfied or very dissatisfied with the city as a place to work. To that point about comparisons, we saw no statistically significant differences between groups in these ratings to that item. As another indicator of how employees feel, we asked whether or not they would recommend the city as a place to work. We had half who strongly or somewhat agreed that they would recommend the city. A little over a third kind of were neutral, not one direction or the other. And we had 14% who strongly or somewhat disagreed with that item. We did observe a statistically significant difference where men reported slightly higher agreement levels to that item, though it was still overall favorable for both groups. And then there was a question about how the employee rated the city today as a workplace compared to how it was 2 years ago. And there we see some more spread and difference in experience. where 35% say it's much or somewhat better. We have 39% who say it's about the same, and then a quarter who say it's much or somewhat worse. And I recognize and understand there have been leadership transitions over the last few years, and I think this is likely reflective of that. So I think this in particular could be an item to really watch and observe over time if you do revisit collecting this feedback from employees. And on this item, we did not find any statistically significant differences across categories, which I think is particularly relevant when we think of that length of employment, where those who've been here 15 years versus less than 2, and in between, they have similar ratings on this item. And now we're going to dive into key topic areas. For the sake of time, we are not visiting each of these items, but I wanted to give you a sense of the 23, again, sort of aspects of the workplace that we explored more in depth. So some of these include performance appraisals, experience with training and development, feelings of employee empowerment, impressions of communication within the city, and so on. Now, within each of these areas, if we go to the next slide, please. Recognize that's quite small, so let me read that out for you. But within each area, we would ask a subset of items that we're getting at specific dimensions to that area, and then we asked an overall item. So some examples of this slide is showing questions we asked about the key area topic of dignity and worth. So some of those items included agreement with the statement, "I'm proud to tell people that I work for the City of Hopewell," or "My job gives me a feeling of personal accomplishment. My job makes good use of my skills and abilities." So those are some of the examples to try to capture dimensions of that topic area of dignity and worth. And so across each of those sub-items, we're using the same scale of agreement, 1 to 5, where a higher score indicates greater agreement, indicates greater presence, or a positive rating of that area. And then before moving on to the next slide, at the bottom of this slide, then for each of these topic areas, we ask a general assessment. So overall, how satisfied are you with your experience of dignity and worth within the workplace at Hopewell? And that is, again, on a scale of 1 to 5, now from very dissatisfied to very satisfied. Now we then further explored these topic areas, both in terms of how are employees rating these areas, and then ultimately we'll get to how important they are. So in terms of the performance of these areas, we took an average score across each of those sub-items, where on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being a high score being positive, we then ranked or sorted all of those areas. And on this slide are the top 5 most highly rated performance areas. That is commitment to Hopewell. That is the employee's sense of commitment to Hopewell received the highest score, followed by fair treatment of customers, responsiveness to customers, opportunity to creatively apply their skills and ideas to their job, and feelings of dignity and worth within the workplace. So those were all the highest rated items. We did see some differences in ratings among subgroups. So for example, commitment to Hopewell was highest among employees who had been with the city the longest. I think that can both be a cause and effect in either direction. Creativity applied to the job, slightly higher reported among employees who've been here 5 to 15 years versus those less than 2, higher among managers and supervisors, and feelings of dignity and worth, slightly higher among men. Go to the next slide. And as I mentioned, we ranked all of the, or sorted all of the areas based on these performance ratings. And so relative to that, our 5 areas that received the lowest performance ratings. Mr. Rogers had already mentioned this in his opening statement. Pay is at the top of that list. Additionally, feelings of the workplace environment. That relates to things like amount of stress felt at the job, feeling there's enough time to perform the duties well, balance between work demands and their personal demands, relationships with upper management, performance appraisals, and issues with division managers. And we, again, saw some differences in specific items under these areas between groups. So feelings of workplace environment had slightly more positive ratings among non-managers and non-supervisors, as well as among men. Slightly more positive ratings among men in terms of relationship with upper management, and then issues with division managers. Slightly higher ratings among employees who had been with the city less than 5 years. I promise we're starting to land the plane. So we have both how are employees rating their experience across these different areas? How do they think it's going? But we also want to capture, all right, and how important is a given area to the employees? And we looked at this in 2 different ways. So in our first table here on the left, we have reported importance. We just point blank asked employees, we gave them the list. Which of these do you consider the most important to you that you'd like leadership to focus on? And they could pick up to 4. And pay was at the top, where approximately 2/3 of employees selected that item. Additionally, dignity and worth, training and development, quality workforce, communication within the city were all important as reported by employees. Additionally, we calculated another measure of importance, where we looked at correlations with their overall satisfaction working within the city, then across their satisfaction with each of the individual areas. So if I have really strong satisfaction in terms of my experience of dignity and worth within the city, is that closely associated with a high overall satisfaction? And what we see is that workplace environment, again, dignity and worth, diversity and employment opportunities within the city, communication within the city, and impressions of diversity and employment within the department are all the most strongly correlated to then employees' overall satisfaction. Now, how do these 2 lenses intersect? How do performance ratings intersect with importance ratings? We've identified areas of strength. So these are areas where it's both important to the employee and the employee feels like currently things are going well in that area. We then have, and that's in the green at the top left, in the bottom left of this matrix in orange, we have what we'd consider, from our vantage point, sort of the top priority areas to address or put attention towards. These are areas where employees, relative to other areas, rate that performance the lowest, yet it's of highest importance as reported by employees. And then in second priority are those areas where importance is either medium and performance low, or importance high and performance medium. So in other words, the importance is outranking their assessed performance. So those areas of strength, I do want to highlight dignity and worth, that it's both important to the employee, and they're saying they do feel a sense of value in their work. They feel proud to say they work for the city. We also have employee integrity, diversity and employment opportunities within the department, employee relations within the city, and employees' sense of commitment to the city. These are all areas that should be celebrated and also maintained. For areas to prioritize and focus on, to again strengthen and hopefully improve the work experience, we have workplace environment, relationships with upper management, and pay. Second priority, training and development, communication within the city, benefits, quality of the workforce, employee relations, within the department, diversity and employment opportunities within the city, and issues with division managers. I have a concluding slide summarizing that, but I think for the sake of time, we can just pause there, and I'm happy to address any questions.
I don't see any questions from council.
Okay. Well, thank you all for your time.
Thank you so much.
Let me say that the next steps for us as a management team is to take this information, sit together and see what lessons we've learned and what we need to do to move the needle in some of these areas that we're showing low. And so this will be work that we'll do with the department heads, and we'll wrap it up in a nice bow for Mr. Jones when he comes.
And then let me actually ask this next question. So, we've done this initial. You are starting with your team. You seem to be Mr. Jones' team to put a plan of action together. Do you guys normally come back 1 year, 2 years, and do another survey, or what's the time frame to gauge it so that way we can see what the success is?
So I can speak from my vantage point, but
I'll take both perspectives.
I would say from my management style, I like to do it every 2 years.
Okay.
And what I would say is that's a typical cadence we'll do with other organizations as well. But I would also say have it be aligned where when you are engaging staff again, you're doing so in a meaningful way that can indeed give time for changes to have taken effect, or give time for an implementation to actually be in process. You don't want to overuse the time and energy of staff, because it's very generous for individuals to share their experience. And so you want to make sure when you're doing so, it's indeed at a stage where it can be capturing something. And so I think 2 years can be an appropriate cadence. And even thinking to that question of how were things 2 years ago, or how are things now compared to 2 years ago, certainly you can adjust that question, and it can be responsive to when you're administering, but I think 2 years is an appropriate cadence. Or, again, if big changes are happening and you need more time for that to settle, then 3 years. I think it should be tailored to the environment.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
All right. Moving on to R3, Mr. Sanderson.
Good evening. And I will, you tell me how detailed you want me to go into this. I know you've all seen this presentation in the past. We can hit on some changes and then go to sort of like the end part.
Yeah, I think if you just hit the highlights.
Yeah. And then maybe at the end, we'll go over sort of where we stand with the HVAC funding for the schools. So maybe flip to this very first page. The only real change here is we added the 2025 transaction in here, $15 million, the interest rate 4.91%. That's locked in through the life of the loan. And we do have the ability to refinance that come 2031. So if rates have come down after that, obviously we would look to refinance that piece as well. We can skip the next couple pages. This is background. Again, this is a good page to stop. We've updated this to include the 2025 bond. I'll just point out again, your payout ratio down the bottom, over 70% means you pay off more than 70% of your debt over the next 10 years. It's a very strong payout ratio, and we've paid down over $34 million of debt since 2015. Jump to the next slide. Just remind folks that we have historically broken out existing city side debt and then GEO school debt as well, so you can always have that separated and see where that stands. The next couple of slides we can skip. There's no change. No change to the wastewater page, no change to the sewer system debt service, no change to the credit rating piece. The rating methodology section, I'll just make a couple comments. If you go to the next slide, which is slide 14, just a reminder of how the process works. We're looking at just a scorecard, which is just the numerical analysis that the rating agencies do. They have some notching factors that they can add to it. And then there is still a little bit of a black box that they keep to maintain and have the ability to move your rating up or down. But what we're going to look at is just the pure scorecard. If you go to the next slide, slide 15, just a reminder, these are the categories that they look at mainly. It's the economy, your financial performance, the institutional framework, which, a reminder, that's the same for all local governments in Virginia because you're all under the same institutional structure. And then number 4 is leverage. So we've done this for you. The next slide is 2020, 2021, 23, and then finally 24. Why don't we jump to slide 19, which is header is based on City of Hopewell FY 24 CAFR. Again, for you all up there, it's slide 19. When we ran this last year, we were in the AA2 category numerically. Right now, we're coming out into the AA3 category, one notch below. Now, the reality is, if you look at the numbers, the score that you see in the very far right at the top portion, which is a 3.56, right? So we are just into that 3.5 category that moves us into the AA3 rating category. Still strong credit rating. I'll point out a couple of differences for you, some of which you have no control over. The first was a change in the economic growth, and that was actually a change that Moody's made in the area that you're put into. So historically, you were in the Richmond MSA. Now you're in the Prince George and Hopewell MSA. Not quite as strong as the Richmond MSA. So you went down 0.3 on the weighted score on the far right there. You also lower in the financial performance. That's specifically related to total cash and cash equivalents that dropped from FY 23 to 24. I will note to you that we are having some conversations with the auditors to make sure that number totally reflects all of your investments.
Big number.
And so I'm going to put a little asterisk by that one. Stacy actually talked to them today, and so we're going to get some follow-up information on that. And again, we're expecting the 25 audit at the end of the month too. So again, this will be an area that we're going to look at carefully. So those are the only changes. Again, doesn't concern me that you might drop from the AA2 to the AA3. Again, still a strong credit rating overall. The next slide.
I got a question for you,
oh, sure.
Mr. Sanderson. So you talked about the area being reclassified into no longer being part of the Metro Richmond, but now into like Prince George. Does that include Petersburg as well?
I think the way that Moody's, at least their database, it just cites Prince George and Hopewell, but we can confirm.
Okay.
Yeah,
The reason that I'm asking is because I'd be curious to see the analysis that's done if it takes into account Petersburg getting the casino, also getting the data center, and then also Prince George County getting the big Lego facility out there. And so how that affects us, because we end up getting the secondary and tertiary benefits.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a looking back view as well too. So those things may ultimately increase your it's looking at the GDP basically of the region. So
right.
If you're included in that, it is going to increase your GDP compared to the whole entire country. So yeah,
okay,
that would be a positive. The next slide is sort of look at it as a heat map, right? And so Hopewell is the on the left-hand side, and if you're in the pink color, you're in the A category or below. The dark green, you're in the AAA category, and let's call it the beige, you're in the AA category. So you can sort of see where your different specific items of the scorecard come out. Again, the resident income, economic growth, you can see those were in that pink category. You don't have a lot of control over that, certainly at least not in the short term. Same thing with the full value per capita, although we're in the beige there. That's not something that you can turn the switch on quickly and increase your full value per capita. The areas where you have more control over is the leverage and your financial performance, and a lot of that, you've heard us talk about it before, is really contingent on your fund balance and your reserves. It's something we've always preached to you to keep those at a strong level. So overall, overall, pretty consistent with the prior year, slight decrease in your overall score, but something we wanted to sort of triple check with the auditors as well, because again, there was a big driver was that cash and investments line item.
Yeah,
The
because
oxygen.
that came from the oxygen plant. Am I correct, Ms. Jordan?
So, I have David going back to check. It looks like we might be missing some LVIP funds in there as well, but there was an issue in 24 where they were buying oxygen in excess
Yeah.
of like $6.5 million.
And they were pulling out of this fund that really should have came, to council.
It
And-
really should have. It ended up, from my understanding, it was prior to me, but from my understanding that they overspent the city bank account by like $6.5 million.
So there was no managerial oversight being done over this at all? Okay. Thank you.
So more to come on that.
Okay.
On the HVAC project, we've had lots of conversations with schools, especially here recently. We've been trying to juggle the budget at the General Assembly and what may be in there for you all and now what may not. And so I guess as of yesterday, understand that the money in the budget for HVAC is not there currently.
That's correct.
And so that changes a little bit on how we want to think about the funding of this. We don't want to borrow money and then have a money come from the budget and not be able to pay it back. So with that understanding that's not in the budget currently, we are going to suggest that we come back to council at your April 14th meeting for a public hearing and a first reading of the ordinance, and then come back to you on the 28th for your consideration of an ordinance authorizing a borrowing that will cover the basically the almost $8 million that we were hoping to get from the state's budget. I think we're going to also make sure we include, you do have north of $3 million of grant money for this project, which is terrific. The way that program works, though, you can't access that really until the fourth quarter of this calendar year. So what we're going to suggest is maybe we do two pieces of debt. One that will cover the grant piece that we can repay as soon as we get that grant money in, and the other piece that will cover what we were hoping to get from the state budget that we would do as a longer term funding and finance over 15 or 20 years. But we'll come back. Our goal is to be able to come back to you certainly by the 28th with proposals from investors, so you'll know exactly what that interest rate is. I'll put maybe a little asterisk by whether we'll have everything buttoned up so we can talk to you on the 14th. But if we do have information there, we certainly would share it with you. But we absolutely would have it by the 28th.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, are there any other questions for Mr. Sanderson? All right, seeing none. Thank you. All right, Mr. Bissett, R4.
Excuse me, members of council, this is going to be under our new blight and nuisance ordinance, our first use of the blight function. Virginia Code calls this spotlight. The way that this process works and has where you find it in front of you tonight is council for a property at 3008 River Road. There are some photographs, relevant photographs of the property in the agenda packet for tonight. Happy to look at them, but just to give you a broad overview of how this works. First, the city Department of Planning and Development, typically through the building official, reaches out to the landowner or the homeowner, letting them know that he's made a preliminary determination that the property is blighted, and typically this consists of various violations of the building code or the fire code that all between them add up to the building meeting the definition of spotlight, of urban blight. And so what happens first is that initial determination is made. The owner is given 30 days to propose an abatement plan. Here we had a proposal of an abatement plan from the owner. The number of things that need to happen at this property is pretty extensive. So actually, it was negotiated back with the property owner to give him somewhat more time actually than he had asked for. But what happens now is if council decides to adopt this ordinance, I know this is confusing. There's an ordinance that this is all based on, but the law requires this to be an ordinance too. If council adopts this ordinance, then what happens is that then the homeowner, the landowner, it could be for commercial property too. Here it happens to be a residence. Has the amount of time described in the in what's called the spot blight abatement plan. Here, I believe it's until the middle of May 15th, to address and ameliorate the different conditions that make it meet the definition of blight. If the landowner does not do so, the spot blight law allows the city to consider condemnation of the property, and so that would involve the city potentially taking the property, ameliorating the problems itself, and presumably selling it on to somebody who's going to take care of it better. So staff's recommendation here is to approve the spot blight abatement plan that the landowner and the Department of Planning and Development have agreed to.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance declaring the 3008 River Road blighted and approving a spot blight abatement plan as presented tonight?
So move.
I'll second it. Is there any discussion? Councilor Rapola?
Yes, I noticed that almost all these dates are a full year out. They're not progressive. They're almost all the same, April and May of 2026. Is there a reason why there isn't more of a step progression outlined?
Sure. Actually, the landowner had proposed to get all of these things done by April 15th originally. Our building official thought that was actually just too restrictive a time, and that he was sort of setting himself up for failure by promising to get them all done by April 15th. And so it was actually the building official who gave it another month on most of the items.
But for example, why wouldn't it be staggered so that, the siding would be done within 6 months, or the roof first, or, I mean, it struck me as being odd that it's not staggered. It's just, one grand slam, essentially, all that has to be done.
Right. I think the reason there is twofold. Number one, a lot of the things can be done through contractors, at the same time. None of them, or very few of them, are dependent. The completion of some of them is not dependent on, or the beginning of certain steps is not dependent on completion of other steps. They're all a number of things that are all sort of disjoined from each other. And, I think when you go about the process of starting to pick up the phone and call contractors, we don't want to put him in a position where he's committed to doing one thing first and then other things second, and then it turns out that the availability of contractors is really the opposite from what he's committed to.
So I guess my question is, will we get progress reports or that kind of thing as we go, or is it just we wait a whole year and see if the improvements are done?
Sorry, it's not. It's actually all of these commitments are by May of this year. It's 2026.
Okay, misread that. Beg your pardon.
So
Okay.
it is a pretty aggressive abatement plan.
Very aggressive.
Like I said, the landowner had proposed getting it all done by the middle of April, and our building official thought that was not realistic.
My apologies.
So we
because I couldn't see you doing all this by 26.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
And actually, I believe this is supposed to be a public hearing, is it not?
Yes, this is meant to be a public
Yep.
hearing.
Got to.
Okay.
Yep. Went a little too fast.
Okay.
All right. At this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing. I don't have anyone signed up for it tonight. We'll go ahead and close it. And now we'll continue with the motion.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis?
Yeah.
Counselor Day?
Yes.
Counselor Wheat?
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Parton?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right. Moving on to R5. Ms. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Today we're returning with the health insurance renewal. This year the renewal came in at a 15.7% increase. Last week we presented options. This week we're requesting council action on the renewal plan, option B, based on last session's presentation.
Just for the sake of time, did anybody have any questions for Ms. Smith? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve option B plans and rates as recommended by One Digital and presented tonight?
So moved.
All right. Motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Mr. Counselor Harris. Any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Counselor Ellis?
Yeah.
Counselor Day?
Yes.
Counselor Wheat?
Yes.
Counselor Rapoli?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Parton?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to the marathon portion of the meeting. Mr. Bissett, you are the first to go.
I am going to keep this quick. So we started. There's a slide in there if anybody's interested that just talks about what the business of the city attorney's office is. Can you? Yeah, thank you. We don't have much of a change outside of outside of non-discretionary spending. That is to say, salaries and benefits for employees. The city attorney's office is actually proposing a 10% cut to our expenditures. Otherwise, outside of those numbers, if you look through here, you can see where that comes from. You have one area here where we are actually asking for a little bit more in lodgings because we've found that sending the two attorneys and the paralegal to conferences was not quite fitting within the budget. But all told, if you look at this, and I believe it's the next slide, Sade, this represents a 10% reduction in discretionary spending at the city attorney's office. If you go on to the next slide, this is just showing this is how much has been spent year on year on outside counsel by the city. You'll notice the one for 25. This actually, of course, goes all the way through June of 25. You'll recall that my tenure here began with you in February of that year. So the most recent fiscal year, the one that's going to be ending in 3 months, if you look here on the far right, the blue plus the red is the projected. That's how much is going to be spent on outside counsel. And this is actually bringing in spending on outside counsel beyond the city attorney's office. This is attempting to be a full snapshot of what outside counsel has been costing the city, and is on track to cost the city. Now, and I will say there are a couple of items that, when you look at 26 here, there is a couple of items where they are lingering from past years, and so you're going to see this number. I predict smaller again next year than it is here. And next slide, Sade. This is not, strictly speaking, the city attorney's office, but there is a law library. It has had a It has had a budget of $12,000. It has been costing that pretty much year on year, but took a look into it. It has not been utilized. When I say it's not been utilized, there are Westlaw terminals in it that have literally in calendar year 2025 never been signed on to. So we're going through. We've gotten these contracts reduced in price. We're actually going to be shortly moving the law library from the courthouse to the library proper, so that it is going to be available for people's use on a more realistic basis for people's lives than 9 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday at the courthouse. So that's just a quick update on that. And next slide. And so here's something just to sort of, there's a lot about what the city attorney's office does that's hard to quantify in dollars and cents. There's things that I would say that the city gets a value out of this office that I can't really put into dollars and cents, but just breaking down numbers that we could put a concrete numerical value on. We were able to identify at least $411,000 that has been saved by the city attorney's office over the past year, either through paying less for things, not allowing money that was otherwise going to walk out the door to walk out the door, what have you, and amounts. And this is beyond amounts saved directly by the city, as we already looked at with outside counsel fees. This is in addition to that. One place where outside counsel fees are being counted in this $411,000, though, is the EDA. Of course, the EDA has its own separate line item for outside counsel, but this takes into account money that the EDA has, since the 1st of January this year, been able to save on not spending money on outside counsel fees. And that's the end of my budget presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Not a question, but thank you. One, for your budget, trying to reduce it, since there's a lot of major needs that we still have to continue to work through. But also the fact that your office has so aggressively gone after cost-saving measures to help the citizens and the city itself. So I really do appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Anthony.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the city council's budget.
All right, for the city council's budget, the current year is $203,711.36. We're actually going to decrease that by $7,047.06 due to a health insurance savings, bringing your current budget to $196,664.30.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hopewell water renewal.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of council, Matt Ellinghouse, Director of Water Renewal. I'm here to present my proposed fiscal year 27 budget. We're going to first touch on the operating budget, then we're going to go to the capital budget for water renewal, and then cover the collection system, Fund 41. So the first slide is just a brief history of the plant. I'd like to put this up there, more for public information, but in the interest of time, you can read that on your own time. We'll move on to the next slide, please.
I think your colleagues will appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, so here is the overall operating and maintenance budget for Hopewell Water Renewal. We are coming in at $21.5 million, which is a 12% increase over the $19.2 million that was approved this time last year for the facility. You can see labor's increasing 8%. That covers the 3% pay increase for the employees that's proposed, as well as another 5% to cover the additional benefits that go along with those increases. Energy costs, we're keeping those relatively flat. we're trying to find some savings in our water use on site. This is water, electric, and natural gas. So we're working on some things to try and optimize and hoping to keep that level. Chemicals have gone down a little bit, we're projecting, because we're expecting some better efficiencies as we have improved the operations. As we work towards refining some of those things, we're gonna see some savings overall. The big ticket item, maintenance, we're looking at a 37% increase. A lot of this has to do with the catch-up maintenance work as well as the corrective actions needed to comply with the consent order, which we are working through with DEQ. So, as you can see in the sidebar, we're expecting regular routine maintenance and the catch-up maintenance to be about 60% of that budget, with 40% of it being attributed to the consent order. So hopefully in another 2 years or so, we can start to see this maintenance line drop a little bit as we've kind of gotten caught up and we are into the regular maintenance routine work that we can sustain year to year and keep the facility operating. Utilities, so that's where our water is. So we're keeping that flat. Our friends at Virginia American aren't too happy about that. They want us using more. Supplies and admin are also up significantly. Cost of things like lab supplies, lab equipment, as well as the contracting services to support the maintenance work that we are doing are all moving up and needed moving forward to get us back in the right direction. So overall, a 12% increase at $21.5 million. So on the next slide, you'll see the allocation breakdown because of the commission structure and the way the bills are paid. The city's portion, or the portion amongst the city and the industries, is broken down by flow and loading, pollutant loading. So that calculates out, and the city's portion of the 21 is about 4.8 million. So we pay 22.2% of the overall operating budget, and the rest is picked up by the other industries, and you can see their percentages there as well. Moving on to our capital projects. This is a slide that you saw a version of at my update 2 weeks ago that showed where certain projects were in the listing. This is all the new projects that we're basically kicking off in FY27. So we've proposed a $6.1 million capital improvement project list, and you can see the variety of projects there. A lot of them, there's a number of projects here to improve the operation and reliability of the oxygen plant. A number of these projects are identified in the DEQ consent order for us to take care of over the next 2 years, and aren't optional things. A lot of plant optimization and catch-up work. And if you jump to the next slide, you will see the cost allocation breakdown. The cost allocation amongst the industries for capital operates a little differently than it does for the operating budget. So each pollutant parameter has a different percentage assigned to the different industries and the city. And so when you break down the projects and what they're treating and how it allocates out, you can see that the percentages are a little bit different. The city will pay 21% of that 6.1, so we'll come in at just under $1.3 million for capital.
Mr. Ellinghaus, is there a way that you could provide at a later date this exact chart for 25, 26?
I can do that, yes.
Okay, cool.
I don't have it with me, but I can put together a couple years of historical information.
Okay.
On do you want the capital or do you want O&M and capital?
Both, if possible. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put that together and get it out to council.
Thank you.
All right. And then if we move to the next slide, this is just a summary slide on the O&M budget and the key cost drivers. So, labor, maintenance, and chemicals, are always a key driver for us. We are looking to see some cost reductions and savings through administrative and consulting services, even though some of those numbers went up due to the projects that we have going on. We're trying to find some efficiencies in there. And our major goal here is targeted investment to improve system reliability and optimize what we have. So we took this budget to the Water Renewal Commission last week at the special meeting we had on the 17th, and the commission did approve this budget to bring forward to council. Okay. Any questions about that before we jump to the sewer fund?
I got a couple.
Yes.
So you talked about the maintenance of the plant. You know, we've seen a spike in that, which is, you know, very much understandable.
Yes.
But when you talked about the decrease of it, because they'll get back onto the routine maintenance plan, can we start forecasting about, or start looking at planning to take that drop and then reprogram it back into capital, so that way we can see an increase in capital? Because what I just don't want to end up happening is we end up having another switchgear go down, or the oxygen plant go down, or we end up getting the gravity thickeners that are just so clogged up that they're just totally not functioning to the way that they're supposed to be.
Yeah. So one of the things I've talked to Mr. Fitzwater and city manager's office, as well as some of the staff, is putting together a 5 and 10 year CIP plan, so that we can start to identify the projects and out years when they will anticipate needing done. Okay. So once we develop that plan, which is something we'll be starting to do kind of once this budget cycle is over, as we prepare for the next, is once we've got our arms around that, we'll then have those projects identified. So yes, as maintenance costs, I'll say, come down, because we've gotten a lot of the catch up, we see where the dollars are going to be needed in the future.
Right.
And then once we kind of have that plan, then as infrastructure ages at different rates or whatever, we can shift something up a year, we can slide something back a year, but we're able to track the efficiency and the operation of the plant and respond to it with these capital projects in time.
Yeah, because just in terms of long-term sustainability, there's no way that the plant can function on just $6 million of capital each year. Correct. I mean, it's significantly has got to increase in order to prevent these major catastrophes from happening.
It does, and the capital budget also comes into play where there's a certain amount of work that we can accomplish in a given year.
Right.
So some of that is cash flow. Some of that is also time allowed to get the projects done. The last thing we want to do is have $10 million worth of projects and only accomplish 5.
Right.
So some of that goes in. So as we put together this multi-year plan, we're then going to be able to look at, and we'll get, we'll scope these projects out, we'll get estimates, budgetary estimates, and we'll be able to work them and evaluate them across an entire fiscal year to determine what the right project load is per, not just cash flow, but also, human capital in getting the projects done. So we're going to be able to shuffle that stuff around and kind of level some of these things out, so we don't have these huge spike years and then lean years where we can't,
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's not money that ends up, not being taken advantage of to, be reinvested back into capital. That's just what I want to make sure that doesn't happen, in the future.
Understood. I absolutely agree.
I saw on here, where you talk about cameras down there at the plant, and I know that that's going to help with security. But what are we, looking at doing in terms of restricted access?
So that's actually something we were talking about shortly before coming over here today. So the camera system that the facility currently has is out of date. It's an old system, and some of our folks have been talking to the other city staff where camera systems are used within other city departments, and talking about unifying on one platform so that we've got a little bit more redundancy from an operation and maintenance standpoint of those systems. So it's going to be a more hardened system, so it's harder to access from the outside to comply with current EPA water and wastewater security standards. But also this allows us to keep eyes on a lot of the plant processes from the control room, so we don't have to have operators running around to see everything. We can have somebody in the control room watching over the system, seeing things happen, and then respond to alarms or unusual conditions as needed.
Okay. Yeah, because with everything that's just going on in the world right now, one of the big things, that's in discussions is, ramping up security for key infrastructure. And, if, we can like add, one of the flock, cameras, the license plate readers coming down Hummel Ross Road. I think that would end up helping as well. But I just want to make sure that we're just not losing sight.
No, it's site security as well as operational, efficiency, so that you can keep your eyes on things as they're happening around the plant, not just keeping people out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what your question was?
Yeah, just that this issue has been a really a big issue for several years and was never really addressed. And anybody can walk in there.
So that we do have the slide gate now that operates.
You do?
Oh, great.
Oh, well, that's,
so it does close. We don't keep it closed during the day because there's so many trucks coming in.
Well, that's fine, but it wasn't, that's new, that's great.
But it has been closed at night.
Okay,
So
that's great.
We're making site improvements.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
that sounds great, thank you.
You're welcome.
On to the suicide.
All right, on to the sewer collection system. So this is the fund that is used to pay for operation of the sewer collection system and pump stations. This is cleaning and maintaining of the gravity sewer lines, the force mains, and the pump stations. So this is where the Hopewell customers' sewer bills go. And then from this, the city's able to pay the regional portion of water renewal as well as the pump station. So we've got the 25-26 budget that we're currently working under has an updated budget number of almost $4 million. So that original budget, when it was proposed this time last year, was a little over $9 million due to some just emergencies in the system and some breakdowns and things like that. We've had additional funds put into it that have been collected from customers. We'll actually have another request coming here in the near future. But that 11.3 million, almost 11.4 million, is actually going to be reduced a little bit. We've taken care of some of the issues. We're proposing a $10.8 million budget for the sewer collection system, so about a 5% decrease. And we are projecting the revenue to match those needs. And then I've included just four projects that I think are of interest to council. They're at the only project that is actively, I'll say, under construction. It's doing some survey stuff and things like that for the design, Art, Queen Anne. But the other three we're getting ready to start kicking those off. We're scoping those out with the engineers to get those projects done as well.
So, question for you. So, you talked about the revised budget being about $570,000 decrease. Where's that decrease going? Is that going over to the plant side or for the city's portion?
It's not going anywhere yet.
Okay.
We're being a little on the conservative side of what we're going to spend because we don't know where an emergency might pop up or something might happen. So we're hoping revenue is going to come in above, our estimate. We set it to meet our needs, but we're expecting with the rate increase that it will come in higher. But a lot of times, increases to fees and rates and whatnot sometimes has an offset because people can change some behaviors. So we want to kind of temper that a little bit and not create a budget that we might fall short of.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it's not something that has happened in the past where infrastructure keeps taking the hit of say, we can't fund infrastructure, and that we are staying after replacing the laterals, the mains, the manholes, the pump stations, everything.
As we get further into the fiscal year and we see where revenue projections are, we've got a list of pump stations that need capital work.
Right.
And so as funds become available for those types of things, whether they're large projects or small projects, just to get them becoming a little bit more reliable and things like that, that's what we're intending to use the funds
and that's what I was thinking. I was like, $570,000, you could start another pump station if you wanted to.
We have only so many people though, so that's the downside. Is we've got to spread the work out.
Right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to planning and development.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Tonight I have the Development Department's proposed budget for the next fiscal year. We are just asking to maintain funding from 26, no increases. That'll keep us at about $1.5 million for the department. We do have two requests. They are in priority order. The first one being a new position, and that would be a neighborhood planner within the department. The department used to have four planners in the department. We're down to two. And that would be myself and the deputy director. The most recent fully staffed department that I could find was back in '06, and the four positions existed at that time, but they weren't filled. My guess is I don't know why they were never refilled and ultimately eliminated, but I'm sure it had something to do with budget cuts at some point way back then. But today, since 2020, planning applications have actually increased 56% in the last 6 years, and site plans have also increased. They've doubled in the last 6 years, and the value of a site plan, which the complexity of a site plan is equatable to the value of a proposed project. So that's increased 133% since 2020. So the work is steadily increasing. That's a good sign for the city that our work is steadily increasing. However, our staffing has not. So between myself and the deputy director, we are staffed to 5 active boards and commissions, and we wear many hats in the department. We're a zoning administrator, subdivision agent, floodplain manager, Chesapeake Bay Act enforcement agent, federal responsible entity, fair housing officer, and they even made us an EPS contact, which is styrofoam. So with the state ban on styrofoam, my office is responsible for any complaints or questions about that particular prohibition. This position is one of the 4 that did exist previously, and a neighborhood planner essentially will focus on neighborhood issues, housing, impacts, trends, that sort of thing. Increased and targeted zoning enforcement, so this neighborhood planner would work very closely with our zoning enforcement officer. This planner position would also serve as a liaison to the few civic groups that we have in the city. Could also assist with establishing more civic groups throughout the city. The neighborhood planner would identify emerging problems ahead of time instead of being more reactionary. We also anticipate that this person will help us with going after more grants. And then a big assist that this position will provide to the department is that we can do some of this planning in-house instead of relying on outside professional assistance. And again, they would help with some of the day-to-day duties that myself and Ms. Davis undertake. So there are some offsets to this potential position. So we are proposing to eliminate a position that was added to our department last year, and that is the city receptionist position. Our permit technician actually has taken on those responsibilities as just a part of her regular duties. So we do have some savings from that. Not 100%, but close to it. Working closely with the Department of Development to adjust some of our enterprise zone incentives that the department currently offers right now. It's 100% fee waiver on planning applications and building permits. In working with Mr. Bennett here, we are looking at not 100% waiver, but more maybe around a 50%, something like that. So we'll have some savings to or actual revenue into the department that we currently weren't getting. And again, just to reiterate, this new position will help us save on outside assistance costs. So because enterprise zone incentives fluctuate from year to year pretty drastically,
I'm estimating that this new position ultimately would only cost us between $0 and $20,000 on a year-to-year basis. We do have to keep in mind our comprehensive plan goes through 2028. So I will be back next year if we don't have this position, asking for a pretty significant amount of money to hire outside assistants to redo our comprehensive plan. These days for our city, we could be looking, depending on how much we do, could be upwards of $150,000 and higher.
So this position would end up being a savings for next year's budget of $150,000. Am I understanding that correctly?
I am proposing that yes. Maybe not 100% of the 100. Let's say it would be 150. What we would do is our deputy director actually, that's her specialty is long-range planning. If we're able to get this position, Ms. Davis would take on the lion's share of updating our comprehensive plan. We still may need a little bit of outside assistance on some data collection, data analysis type thing, but I would say a large majority of the money that we would normally spend to hire a consultant to do our comp plan, we would be able to do in-house with Ms. Davis. Okay. I myself come from that realm as well. I used to be, in fact, I have worked in Hopewell's, not on your comp plan, but on your old B Village plan when I was a consultant. So I'll be helping Ms. Davis on that too, if this becomes a reality for us. Lastly, our second ask, and this is a big ask, but it is second priority, for us to switch to integrated online permitting system. Right now, we take in paper permits. It's a lot of paper. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of staying on top of and tracking these permits. An online system will improve our customer service and accessibility. It'll increase internal as well as external efficiencies. It enhances transparency and accountability, boosts economic development, and ultimately creates long-term cost savings. We're estimating online system being about $180,000. It's quite a bit, with an annual of around 82. That's a quote from one specific online permitting application. There are several out there where that number is not hard and fast. But I wanted to put that out there as a long-term priority for the department, maybe not necessarily realistic for this year, but something to think about for the future.
Do you have an estimate of how much the annual cost savings would be each year, like once implemented?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure I will be able even to attach a dollar amount to that because I'm not sure how I would do that. It's really more of an internal workflow manager aspect is how it would help us in the department because permitting starts with us and then is spread out amongst all the other departments for review. We currently do that mostly through paper. It's difficult to track, it's difficult to manage. Online, so it would be saving us from an efficiency standpoint, like a time management standpoint. We can dive deeper into that and see if we can attach a number to it, but I kind of don't want to just make up some number. I'd like to give you something that's
I think it would just be good to know for long-term planning.
Absolutely.
Because
it says creates long-term cost savings and resilience at the bottom, one of the benefits.
Yeah, it'll save us definitely on copying and printing costs. I know that for sure. So,
because I'm thinking long-term. With the city, entering its next phase, with all of our financials, being current here within, the next 30 days.
Amazing.
Right, Stacy?
Yes.
And so, we now enter, this new chapter in this new era where, we are able to even more aggressively go after infrastructure needs. And so, when I see things, like, oh, okay, well, this position here, may only cost us $20,000 a year, but a comprehensive plan, costs us $150,000, and we can offset, let's just say $130,000. That position pays for itself every 5 years.
Absolutely.
With still generating revenue that we can go and apply to other big critical needs that we need in the city.
We'll dive a little deeper into this and try to attach a realistic number for you.
Okay.
I will be honest with you. We as a department are not ready to switch to online permitting right away.
Okay.
The implementation is extremely intensive. It requires a pretty significant review of internal workflow, and more than likely than not, we will have to make some drastic changes to how we do things internally within the department before we even get to the point of implementing an online system, because we have to make our internal systems work with that particular application.
And we also don't want your rollout to be a disaster like Munis was, because I don't want that to be a reflection to the development and business community that we don't have our act together.
Exactly right.
Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
my question had to do with Munis.
Yes, ma'am.
And, was this going to be a Munis program?
So any program that we would put forward,
It has to talk.
it's going to have to integrate with Munis. Tyler makes their own integrated system. It's called EnterGov, and a lot of people are familiar with that.
And that's for this particular application?
It's made by the same company that makes Munis, that
Okay.
manages
Yeah,
Munis.
yeah. Right.
So it's a full integration there.
Okay.
It's a lot of people have experience with that. I myself do not, but I've heard horror stories about the implementation of that particular
Yeah.
application.
Okay.
But there are others that do integrate with Munis as well that are not made
Okay.
by Tyler.
Yeah, that's so important. It really can become a disaster.
Yeah, and it's going to take some real strategic planning on the front end before we ever start to switch
All right.
over.
Thanks.
I did want to put this in here though, just to get it on your radar.
Sure.
That it
No,
is
no, that's
something
appreciative.
That
Yeah.
we should move towards.
Thank you.
All right, that's the end of my presentation. Just those two asks, level funding, and any other questions I'm available.
I just want to
yeah,
make
so
one.
then-
I just want to make one comment that the neighborhood planner, I think, is a really important position, and I'm glad that you've included it. And I think a number of years ago we went to Hampton and looked at what they had done, and they have a neighborhood planner, and they had just done so much down there. So I look forward to having something similar here.
Great, thank you.
All right. Moving on to healthy families.
Good evening again. Shantae couldn't be here. They had an event tonight, but I'm just going to do an overview of her budget. For fiscal year 26, her current budget was $957,888. For 27, she is requesting $1.2 million. Her increase stems from additional grant monies being received for the upcoming fiscal year in the amount of $247,257. Her request is for a family support specialist part-time, as well as a part-time administrative assistant, additional funding support, clinical mental health consultation, which would be fully funded by the additional grant funds except for $117. So her only request for next year is $117.
Okay. Shortest presentation of the night.
Yes.
All right. Department of Social Services. The champion that cleaned up the CSA issues.
Yay, remember that. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council. My name is Wanda Williams, and I am the Director of Hopewell Department of Social Services. So Shantae didn't ask for a lot. I'm going to be asking for some money. So before I go into what I'm asking for, I want to give an overview of what we do and who we are. We are comprised of 3 different divisions. We have an administrative services division. We have our benefit programs as well as our family services. Our benefit programs division does all of our benefit programs. That includes our Medicaid, SNAP, TANF, energy assistance programs, as well as others, child care. So we do a lot in benefit programs. For our family services side, We are responsible for child protective services, adult protective services, foster care, adoption assisted programs, and so we do a lot on that side too. And so when tonight I want to have a conversation from the point of, let's talk about public safety. When we think about public safety, we think about fire and police. But the Department of Social Services is also one of your agencies that help with public safety, because we're the agency that makes sure children are safe, as well as adults. We make sure that families stay together. We put services in place. We feed people by providing SNAP benefits. We make sure people have health insurance by providing Medicaid, as well as we provide them a check. In addition to that, we provide energy assistance, which helps with their heating and cooling costs, as well as the PIP program, which is that program that we operate and do case management for Dominion Virginia Power. If we didn't do what we did, then as a city, we will have a public safety issue. People would not be able to support themselves or their families. And so in keeping in mind with that, we started keeping some data. Jay, the IT director, came to me and he said, your agency received more phone calls than any other department in the city of Hopewell. How shocked was I? So as of January of 2025 to June of 2025, we started keeping a tally of those calls. We received over 21,000 calls in our department. For the fiscal year of 25, we had over 1,300 people walk into the Department of Social Services to request some type of assistance. It's based on our data that we're getting from the state. Over 14,000 neighbors in the city of Hopewell receive either Medicaid, SNAP, or TANF. That is not the people that we are providing assistance with for our VIEW program. That is not the people that we're providing child care assistance to. Those are not those other programs that we have. We currently have 36 children who are in foster care. We're responsible for maintaining those children as if we are their parent. We have to take care of all of their needs, as well as we still follow our kids who are in adoption assistance. And so as you say, I now have CSA that you so graciously had mentioned. And the first time you met me, you said thank you because since you've been in the city of Hopewell, I haven't received any complaints.
Still to this day, I have not received any complaints.
However, CSA just came under me. So take note of that.
Okay.
What I would like to say is that the benefits that we're providing in the form of social services, we are providing over $134 million. So even though people look at the Department of Social Services as if we are spending money, we also help put money back into the community. We put money back into the community by providing people with almost $15 million in SNAP benefits so that they can buy food. They are able to go to the doctor. They're able to receive a check to then help support themselves and their family. And all of that money is coming back into the city of Hopewell. I am requesting some positions because I need some positions to help support what we have to do because our programs are either federally mandated or based on the state. And so I am requesting to, number one, absorb the CSA positions under the Department of Social Services so that as a city, instead of you paying 100% of their salary, then they will be under DSS, where as you know, that is 15.5% that you attribute to our budget. Okay? I am also requesting an assistant director because I need support in order to maintain our department. Again, I have a new department, CSA, that is a whole department within itself. I am requesting a human services assistant to help us with our foster care. Currently, I have 36 children in care. I have one foster care worker and one supervisor. So there's a lot of administrative work that goes with that. We have to provide documentation to not just the state, but federal, and we have a lot of audits. I have audits in my agency almost every single month from either the state or through a result of the federal government. I have a new request, it's the SNAP ENT program. So with the changes with HR 1, it is now requiring that individuals who are receiving SNAP benefits have to do some type of work and training component. We have been exempt as a locality from doing that, but HR 1 took all of those exemptions away. And so this particular program will allow us to help our neighbors to be more prepared to seek employment and to provide training for them. I've communicated with the state. The state is giving me one of my wishes if this position is provided, and that is for us to have a van to go out into the community to assist our neighbors with helping them secure employment as well as training. I also need a benefit program specialist to help with that position so that they can provide case management and services for that program. I am requesting a part-time adoption assistance person because I do have, and I'm responsible for my department for individuals, for children who have been adopted through the Department of Social Services. Currently, that person is a contractor. I do not have a dedicated person who's there at set times during the week to assist with that caseload. Again, that is a federally mandated program. Because of the demands for the family services, there's a lot of training that's involved. And so what we're discovering is, based on what our requirements are to the community, we need someone to help us train our family services workers. We're not in the position here in Hopewell where I can get somebody who has years of experience or any experience to come to Hopewell. So a lot of times I'm getting staff that are coming directly from college, and this is a high stressful and demanding caseload. And so we're asking to have a part-time person to help us in our training so that we can make sure that the staff are ready to go out to do what they have to do for this federally mandated program. Unlike the city of Hopewell, there is an IT department. The city of Hopewell IT department cannot come into the Department of Social Services and assist us with our IT needs because we are using state equipment. And so a lot of times we are at a disadvantage because we're scrambling trying to figure out how to address our IT issues. When it rains, our internet slows down. When the wind blows, our internet slows down. And so we have a lot of IT-related issues, and we don't have the staff internally that has the knowledge to address that. So I'm requesting that we have an IT person to help us part-time with that. In addition, I've already talked about the number of phone calls that we receive. I talked about the number of individuals that come into our department. I currently have 2 receptionists at the front desk. If one of those persons is not available, or normally at the beginning of the month, we get a lot of people coming in, then I have to pull somebody from their full-time position to come up to help support that frontline staff. That is a very important part of my agency because they are the face of the Department of Social Services. And so how much am I requesting? This figure is actually not correct because at first I was requesting 2 assistant directors. I didn't even talk about my assistant director. I was requesting 2 assistant directors, and now I'm only asking for 1. So my budget increase is $893,000. Mindful that that is also including the CSA positions that the city is currently funding 100%. However, there is only a 15.5% match that the local government has to provide, and so the local government match will be $138,000. But with me requesting only one assistant director, that amount does decrease. Are there any questions at all?
And this probably, well, I think I might just have to get offline because this might just get too in the nuance and then the weeds. About trying. Well, let me just try to just ask it outright. The 15%. So moving CSA, which is totally city funded, 100%, moving that over onto you now. Am I understanding it correctly that the state will then pay 85% of those salaries and then the city pays 15%?
Correct.
Okay. So what is the savings of that 85% that we wouldn't have? Or excuse me, that we now have?
I can't tell you the exact figures,
Okay.
but I can go back and find out what those salaries and those benefits are for those two positions and let you know.
Okay. Because what I like seeing, from an example, with Mr. Bissett, and other directors that have come up here, and Chris Ward as well. If we can find ways of saving money, whether it's through reclassifying positions, augmenting positions, or this very creative restructuring like what you're proposing, I mean, I am very willing to support positions coming in order to help the city. That's the type of really strategic mindset that I really like to see. But yeah, I'd just be curious what those savings are. And then this is maybe a question for you, maybe Jay or Mr. Rogers. With the IT support system, is there any sort of certification, training that some of our folks can go through at the state level that can be certified to be able to assist you guys?
Unfortunately, the Virginia Department of Social Services and VETA does not, it has to be someone with the state. It has to be their contractor, their entity that they're bringing in to provide assistance for us. When I say that we need assistance, I have been trying to get Adobe Pro since June of 2025. Now, I have people in my agency who are in a position that has this under them, but they're not equipped to talk to the state to implement me receiving this software. And I want this software because it's going to help my staff be a lot more efficient in their day-to-day operations. So that's not a part of the conversation that the state will have. I know Jay has tried to talk to the state to see if we can have the fiber lines that you all have coming to our department. All of our equipment, including our internet, is provided by the state.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, this is more state statute. So, Mr. Rogers and Mr. Jones, I think this would actually be a really good, because I know that we're not the only locality facing this.
No.
And I think this would be great to include in our legislative agenda going forward for the next General Assembly session. Being that this can end up helping all communities, that if there's some sort of training certification process that local employees can do through the state, be credentialed, and they have to go through annual certification, that they can end up helping. I think helping you guys, because right now we're seeing these cost savings that I know that you're going to get with us, and we can try to work through. But I think a good long-term solution that will help is if we can get a state policy law change or something like this.
Okay.
You've been busy.
You know what? My team has been busy. It takes,
I don't doubt it.
As a matter of fact, when you mentioned there were a lot of employees, I have some of my employees here, and I have one of my board members here as well, my advisory board member. Because it is so important to us and we're so passionate about what we do and trying to assist the community, we just want to do a good job, and we struggle because we don't have the resources to help us get to that level where we can provide the excellent customer service that we're trying to provide.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we do not go back to the days of all those CSA issues. I know Mr. Bob will attest to it as he was writing up the reports, and he was with us and walked us through, being able to get it reinstated and work through those issues. I just don't ever want the city to ever get to that point where we have to fully fund it ourselves.
It is a lot of work, and we are working hard to get the program back where it needs to go. And it's not just myself that does that. That's the whole CPMT board. And collectively, we do work hard. OCS right now is happy with us. You haven't gotten a call from Scott.
I don't want to call.
Right. And so we are working with...
or email. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Call or email.
We're working with his department to make sure that we're on point. As a matter of fact, they expect one of the City of Hopewell staff to be the CSA coordinator of the year. If we stay on track, that person may be one of the CSA coordinator of the year at the conference in October. And we're working hard to be on track so that she can be successful in that role. So we're doing some great things over at
when
DSS.
she gets it, because I know she's going to get it, I want to make sure that she comes up here and she gets recognized before the public.
I will make sure of that.
And I also, when that happens, I want to make sure that we have, what the dollar figure is, that it is end up saving the city and preventing having to fully fund it, because that and between the oxygen plant crushing us, I mean the city was daggone close to insolvency.
I understand. Scott and I have had an extensive conversation about that.
But like I said, no phone calls, no emails. Keep it up.
Yes, sir. Are there any other questions? Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all
thank
so
you.
much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hello again.
Back for round two.
Back for round two. Alright. I will try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. So just a little introduction, kind of about what we do and how our office is broken down. That'll lead into where we're at later. Myself, Chief Deputy, Deputy 2, a delinquent tax collector, full-time, a Deputy 1, and then a general clerk, and then 2 part-time general clerks. So 7 altogether, 6 on a daily. Just a little bit about what we do and what we collect for. We work with the Commissioner of Revenue very heavily, as well as the Real Estate Assessor's Office, and we collect stormwater fees for public works as well as utility payments for HWR, all in accordance with 58.1-3127. And this is just kind of a breakdown on how we go about doing it, the daily collections at the window, payments sent in, payments paid online. Everything has to be processed on a daily with a daily close report, all in accordance with 58.1-3154. All right, so now into the budget. For fiscal year 26, the budget was at $103 for part-time wages. We want to drop that $26,000 because we have those 2 part-time employees who are salary capped. So that leaves us room for 1 more part-time position for a part-time delinquent tax collector. So that would be a change of minus 25.28%, and that is going to get moved. We want to move it to our other professional services. So this is all of our collections methods. We are about 87% as of right this second on the budget, and we are only in March. So, with moving forward, like I addressed earlier, I'd like to improve collections. Therefore, every DMV stop that we have off, every auction that goes to sale, every abandoned property that goes to our collections attorneys, personal property that goes to collections attorneys, all of that starts to add up. So if those DMV stops and things start to increase, obviously we're going to need a little bit more because just for example, every DMV stop we take off, that's $30 to our budget. It comes back into the city, but it gets taken out of our budget. So it's kind of recycles itself, but it does remove from our budget, comes back to the city. So for training, all of my staff is fairly fresh. I've got 2 that are up for certification. They've been there over 2 years. The rest of them are under that certification, so I'm trying to get them trained up, ready to rock, ready to roll, and eventually have the entire office certified with the TAV, the Treasurers Association of Virginia. So requesting a $1,000 increase for training. Most of it's fairly local, so that's why it's only the $1,000. And then, went too far. With that, lodging included as well to accommodate for the same exact reason. And then lastly, on to postage. So this one looks a little scary, I know. But with the stormwater bills now being sent on real estate taxes, all the exempt properties that we did not used to send delinquent letters to will now be getting real estate bills. Not bills, but the stormwater fee that's attached to the bill. So that is a pretty hefty increase. I think it was 427 accounts that are exempt that will start getting those stormwater fees, as well as trying to send out more notices like I addressed earlier, just to try to keep people on top of taxes so they don't fall behind, and we get to the collections part. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
This won't be a question per se for you, but it's under your jurisdiction. This is probably more from Mr. Oh, shucks, he left already. Never mind. I'll get up with you, Mr. Rogers. Got a question from Mr. Sanderson on the local government investment pool fund. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi again.
Round 2 again for you.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and members of council again. This is hard to follow.
Presented more in one night than you have all year.
Yeah, very true. So I just want to start with the first slide. No, that's not. Sorry. Yeah, that's the one.
This one?
No, well, I had a couple just to tell a little bit about the commissioner. Yes, just a little history of the commissioner of the revenue, so you guys would have that, about our commissioner as the elected official and what she does, and what she's responsible and her staff is responsible for. The next slide, yes, talks about what we are responsible for, to let everyone, of course everyone knows, but I just wanted everyone to have that with them. Next slide, you can skip this. I just wanted to get, you can skip this slide, yeah. I just wanted to get into the 3 priorities that we have. The first was mentioned earlier, the capital project of our office safety. And I have some reasons there and the biggest thing is the safeguard and protections of the taxpayers' information. We don't have that right now. In our office, we can maybe have 3 taxpayers in our little area at a time, and we also assist DMV as well, the select office. And I did mention some safeguarding situations in the Code of Virginia in there for your review to see why this is so important. And this is our priority 1. Second, and then personnel. With us starting with the cigarette tax, there's a lot of safety regards with the cigarette tax. And we have the stamps that we store in our office, and we don't have anything that protects us. We don't have anything, we have a safe, we've had to purchase that, but it's with our DMV items. So there's nothing to really protect the city's cigarette stamps right now. And I also listed on there, well, a little bit of our responsibilities about it's just very important with the safeguard. And then it falls into the personnel because that tax becoming here, we need a tax auditor. And I hate to mention this, but another position in the office would help us with auditing and maintaining the stamps, especially with the local businesses, because we have to go out there and confiscate them now with the code that's written up, and it's a little bit more challenging than we anticipated. And I just wanted everyone to know that. That's a part of the personnel. That was our second priority. And then if you can go to the third. So the general overall mentioned earlier about the chairs. That was mentioned. That's a hole that we're needing. It's just the broken chairs in the office. And also it's a couple other things like our education and our training is a whole, that $4,000, just to let everyone know. Because like, for example, our food, I hate to mention this, but the meals and the training that we do with the increase of it, and our budget's very low where we're having to transfer money to maintain those budgets, just to let y'all know.
Now, you need these certifications as well to be able to maintain things like the DMV Select.
Correct.
And some of these other services that you provide the citizens.
Correct. And
Okay.
Our certificates and our things that we have to maintain for trained experience and have for our staff. That we have to. Our certifications, we have those. There's three of us, myself, Debbie, and Lisa, that we have to maintain that as well. And fees have gone up as well, along with everything else. So,
Total dollars.
just to let y'all know. Okay, and, you can go into the next. The conclusion, I just wanted to let everyone know what these possibly could help us as far as efficient and accurate tax administration, employee retention, and also to make our office secure is our biggest priority with what we have in there. So, sorry,
Councilor
any
Harris.
questions?
I just got one question
Sure.
for you. How secure are you right now?
So in our office, we don't have any windows for the citizens to talk to us like the other offices do on our floor. We're the only office open to public. So we have things in our office, Social Security numbers, things that we have to discuss with taxpayers that it's hard to because there's no privacy for us. We have nowhere. It's right at that counter if you've ever been in our office that there's 4 staff up there that's waiting on customers, and then the little waiting area. There's nowhere for us to take this taxpayers unless we go into Debbie's office and talk to them because that's the only safe area or secure area.
We need service windows and we need a place for taxpayers to come. If I get 3 people in my office, there's nowhere for anybody to go. They have to stand in the hallway. They couldn't do anything because of the mural. I've been asking for probably since 2005 to have something done. I was promised the office beside me so they could do some windows there. But we really need security windows. We took on the DMV, so we have all that money in there. We have all those stamps in there now. We're not really set up to do all that. That is normally done in conjunction with the treasurer. So, anybody have any other questions?
No, the reason why I was asking is because y'all need that now, right now.
Yes.
We've been begging for it.
Who you been begging?
Every year. Johnny Parton, how long have I been asking for that?
I think you've gone to every city manager that I've been on council for, so at least 2 managers, and that would be over the course of 7 years. This is number 8 with your 3rd city manager.
Normally, well, we took over the DMV monies because our treasurer at the time, the current one, would not do her part. So I stepped in and said, okay, we'll do it all. And we got the safe. Well, that took a lot of room out of my office because we had to have a safe. We had to have separation of doors, everything that could lock. So, I mean, we've run out of room, but I've got to have somewhere for my taxpayers.
So what we did, in the finance committee presentation I did earlier, we allocated some cost savings, $25,000 for the Commissioner of the Revenue Office, taking up our security.
Okay.
In this fiscal year, so
Where are the dollars?
Okay. Yeah. So I see, you got your chart here with the dollar figures. Do any of these result, like, you're talking about, the tax license auditor position and whatnot. Do you foresee any, savings from that position?
Savings or why we're requesting is because the cigarette tax is doing so well.
Right.
And that's why, there's no savings, unfortunately.
Okay.
It would be a position that would.
We're required to go out and count these and start taxing to make sure that they're confiscated if they're not a stamp on them, and we have to count them. We haven't been able to do that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be honest with you. We're not in a position.
Okay.
to.
So it's what I'm saying is it's meeting a state requirement.
Yes.
Okay.
And we also, this auditor would not just do cigarette tax. We've never had a tax auditor since before Ms. Robbins left, so at least since 2004. And I mean, we really need one, and we've all been trying to pick up, but like I said, with the extra duties we've taken on, it's gotten to the point where it's hard for us to get out in the car and even go to the businesses anymore. So that's what we're looking for. It wouldn't just be for the cigarette tax.
Well, yeah, I guess, what I was thinking is, it's also because I know that you guys have had issues with people operating without a business license.
Correct.
And I would assume that position would incorporate those duties as well.
Somewhat.
Okay.
We do have a licensed inspector,
Okay.
and they would work hand in hand with them. And the furniture and fixtures, we need to be out there going to the stores like we used to every year. And we don't have the manpower to do it with DMV and the stamps now.
Okay.
And honestly, the safety of it, we have to take 2 staff out of our office to go do these audits on the road right now.
Okay.
Myself and usually the business license inspector, or Debbie and the business license inspector.
Okay.
So, safety away from.
Yes, sir.
Remember that there's a solution.
Right, and that's where that was going to be my next point.
Right.
Is once they finish that, we need to have an offline conversation also about this.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think a solution that you guys will like.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
We
very
heard
much.
you, Debbie.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. Last but not least, economic development.
Mayor, Vice Member, Mayor, members of council, I've been informed that I only have 3 minutes, so if you could put the 3-minute timer up there, that would be great. No, so operationally, we're not asking for any increase this year. You were able last year to put in our budget to fund Mr. Kyle English, the Business Retention and Expansion Specialist. He's doing a fantastic job. If he keeps doing what he's doing, I'm going to retire early. So I'm super excited for his effectiveness here in the city. What I do want to cover with you tonight is 2 10-year plans. And one of the things in economic development we have to do is think strategically. What is the city's place? What is the city's position? What is the city's way that we have the most value? And where do we add value into the process? And so this is the same plan that you saw last year. Some items have been updated. Some items have been funded. For instance, last year I presented you the plan to complete the Riverwalk to the marina, and that's been funded with the GEO bond that y'all raised earlier. So you'll see that on the next slide as being funded. So all of these are in alignment with both the comprehensive plan and the economic development strategic plan that you guys as a body and the EDA agreed last year jointly on. So over on the right-hand side, you'll see the alignment with the focus areas. And really, I'm ready to move forward with each and every one of these. I know we're not going to do them all. I love what Matt said earlier when he was talking about the fact you could give him $10 million and he couldn't spend it all in 1 year. I don't have that problem. If you give me $10 million, I will spend it all in 1 year. No, not really. I could probably.
Stacy's going to pump the brakes on you.
Stacy's going to. So, but anyway, what I'd like to do is just say that the ones that I really want to focus on are those strategic ones that help position us for the best growth in the future. And there's one that I know is dear to Robert Bob's heart, and that is to get this riverfront comprehensive overlay plan done. It's a strategic plan that we need to do, and I'm in full alignment with that. You'll see that in the budget. If you go to the next slide, please, I want to talk about our waterfront investments. As you can see, you guys have funded the connection to the marina from the Riverwalk, and then also the ADA accessible trailhead there. The bids come in for that on April the 4th. We'll be opening the bids for those. I've been hearing a lot of good things from people interested in bidding. It's getting a lot of great coverage in the subcontractor market. But I'm also really excited, to get the marina store renovation done this year with the exterior patio deck and restaurant conversion. That is something that we've got drawings completed and ready to apply for permits. We've received preliminary numbers, and so that's ready to go.
Is that
as well.
here? I don't see it.
Yeah, it's the first item there at the very top.
Oh, I see it right at the top.
The top one.
I see it now.
Yeah, so I'm here to spend your money wisely, invest it, give me all your money, I will spend it all. No, I'm just kidding. No, but as far as prioritizing the priorities that you guys want, I'm here to help execute. So. Okay. Happy to answer any questions.
I mean, are these prioritized in any way? Have you prioritized them?
Just the 500,000 at the top.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not otherwise.
Okay.
The big ones I touched on earlier, which was that Riverview overlay plan, and then I'd like to get the marina store done.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Ms. Jordan, bring it home.
As Mr. Rogers said earlier, this is our preliminary proposed budget for fiscal year 27. We did notice some numbers change as far as revenue is concerned, given the Commissioner of the Revenue's report from earlier today, so we will be going back, increasing the revenue aside some, as well as going back and working with the departments over the next couple of weeks to see what other items we can implement from the original request that we received. Okay. So our primary city programs and funds: general government, enterprises, health and welfare, schools, and debt. You can skip that one. Our proposed budget highlights for fiscal year 27: maintain operations at current levels, fund needed capital with remaining funds if available, build reserves if revenue left after funding capital, implementation of the remainder of the class and comp study, public safety, and Parks and Rec was completed last fiscal year. All other departments will be included in this upcoming fiscal year. Health insurance increase, we had this to be determined. We did put a placeholder in for option B, which council adopted tonight, which would be an increase of 6% or $293,000 instead of the 15%, $896,000. A COLA 2% across the board. Police and fire step increases, as well as 2% across the board for the state social services, as well as all constitutional officers. This is a breakdown. The next slide is a breakdown on revenue type. We did have more realistic cigarette tax estimates for other taxes, so it was a reduction of $324,000. We did have a reduction of public corp at first. However, we did notice that it went from 4.5, I think it was 5.5 tonight, so we need to increase that one as well. Personal property, grant funds was taken away from the federal piece, and the additional funding and transfers stems from the social services alignment with their state budget. Okay, and also fines and forfeitures increase comes from school zone fines. We're collecting a lot of money in the school zone fine. All right. This pie chart is just a breakdown of how our revenues come through and the percentage of the counts to our budget. The next slide, page 7, is a breakdown of expenses by department. In City Council, there was no increase, but it was a slight decrease due to loss of health insurance for a previous counselor. City clerk, the only increase was about the $2,000 for advertisement. All of this is already built into the 2% COLA as well. City attorney, 2% increase for salaries. City manager's budget had an overall decrease, but the deputy city manager's position was moved from finance to the city manager's office. Human resources, slight increase, 2%. Finance, again, DCM position moved from the city manager's office, and one less accounting position. We lost an employee not by death, but we had an employee leave the city. But as we restructured the department, it was noted that it was no longer needed. So instead of us having 3 accounting positions, we have a senior accountant, a staff accountant, as well as an accounting manager position that all focus on our general ledger side. So we have sufficient accounting positions. So we're giving money back to the city. Voter registration, their increase, a lot of it stems from additional elections this year. Next year, Commissioner of the Revenue is a 2% increase so far. Treasurer increase is a $20,000 for postage for delinquency notices, as well as a $37,000 DMV stops. Information technology was a service contract increases. Circuit court clerk is state funded positions added in 26. We came before council and did a couple of resolutions to add additional positions for the Commonwealth attorney, as well as the circuit court that was paid by the state. Sheriff's increase is the 2%. Circuit court law intern 2% as well. Slight decrease in general district court. Police increase is the step increase, as well as bringing back some unfunded positions from last year, 3 unfunded positions. Fire increase is due to the step increase. VJCCA is 2%. Public Works is 2%, as well as some class and comp implementation that we did not do last fiscal year for Public Works Department. Economic development, planning and development is the position transferred from the city manager's office in 26 that was for a permit tech. Now we're converting that to a neighborhood planner. So Chris will receive his neighborhood planner position. Non-departmental, there was a slight decrease. Outside agencies, a slight increase, as well as transfers was a decrease. It was overall our debt services down for next year, as well as these social services transfers are down due to the CSA falling under social services budget. The question was brought up earlier, how much is the savings for moving it? It's about, for salaries, about $140,000. Okay. The next slide is just a breakdown by department for expenses. Page 9 is our transfers, grant matched city shares. So our city share for DSS is 1.2, transfer to schools is 13.5, CSA CPMT is 962,000, recreation 2.5 million, capital projects so far is 245. Again, we're going back to reevaluate the revenues based off of the report the Commissioner of Revenue presented tonight to add additional capital funding. Economic development EDA is 50,000, self-insurance is 600,000, debt service 292, and healthy families is 356,000. Slide 10 is the amount given to our outside agencies. There was a slight increase in the library request that we received this for the upcoming fiscal year, about 20,000. And the additional monies to the Beacon Theater came from $30,000 that was allocated in Public Works for maintenance. However, the Beacon has been doing their own maintenance, so we just transferred the money from Public Works to the Beacon Theater. Okay. General fund, this is just a breakdown year over year per department. The first one is our police department. Police includes admin, command, patrol, detectives, property records, communications, and animal control. 13 is our fire department, includes the fire EMS. Public Works, which includes grounds and building grounds. What else? We have asphalt, concrete, public service. Okay. Recreation. Next is planning development. Our city manager's budget. City manager includes assistant city manager, economic development, as well as communication and governmental affairs. Our finance department, which includes accounting, budget, procurement, as well as the city assessor. Then we move on to our enterprise funds. HRW expense breakdown. Commission approved their budget on March 17th. Sewer expenses. Refuse. And then we have our stormwater. Our next selection is health and welfare. Our social services department. Our CSA. Healthy families. This time we added additional slides for our constitutional officers. They were not included in our presentation last year. First one is Commissioner of the Revenue. The amount reimbursed by the Comp Board for the Commissioner of the Revenue is $171,585. Commissioner of Revenue also has 2 additional positions fully funded by the city. Our Treasurer, reimbursed by the Comp Board, is $150,995. Treasurer office has a total of 9 positions, 6 full-time, 3 part-time. Only 5 are Comp Board positions and partly reimbursable. Our Commonwealth Attorney, reimbursed by the Comp Board, is $632,908. Commonwealth Attorney has additional position fully funded by the city. Our Sheriff, reimbursed by the Comp Board, $440,114. Our Sheriff office has a total of 30 positions, 16 full-time, 14 part-time. Only 7 are Comp Board positions and partly reimbursable. The remainder of the funds come from the city. And our last constitutional is our Clerk of Courts, reimbursed by the Comp Board, $391,417. Then we go into our debt services, which we have a huge decline in 27, which also will take into account the new $15 million bonds that we have. What Jimmy referenced earlier, even though we're going to take out additional funding for the HAVE Act, those payments will not be due. The first interest payment won't be due until January 15th of 2027, and then the principal will not be due until January 15th of 2028. Okay. So schools, we're doing a level funding again for them, 13.5. Then we go into our capital detail. If you go to page 44, you'll see our overview of the capital projects requested and by department over the next 5 years. The first column is 26 and prior years that will continue to roll over, and then for 27 actual requests. Again, so far we have requests of $7.7 million for CIP. You already saw earlier that we only have about 245 allocated towards it. However, a lot of these projects that say engineering, they're matched with VDOT, so it's really not money, even though it says 7.7 is really not money that's required for the city to pay up front. But we will be coming back to council within the next couple of weeks to sit down and really talk about the CIP and what other incentives that they would like for other departments that have presented previously to be instilled into the budget. Okay. Any questions? I told you I was going to be fast.
That was faster than the New York Minute.
Right. So Stacy, from here, we have some workshops for council, right?
Yes, we do. We have workshops for council. We're getting back with the departments, and we also have workshops for our community. In April, we're doing 2 citizen town halls for the budget.
Because we could hear tonight from what was said, people really don't understand, you know, what the tool tax is and why we would give money back to.
Right.
So I think that the workshop, we should walk through
absolutely
some of those items.
Absolutely.
May I ask, you said citizen town halls about primarily just the budget?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we sit down and talk to the community. They can ask questions and go more into detail with the budget.
Okay, great.
Right.
Yeah, and then I think it'd also be good to have some stuff, because I mean Amanda made a really good comment that said, yeah, it says furnitures, but it's actually all encompassing of furnitures, certification, training,
and some other
that
items
they need as well,
yeah.
so they can continue to provide things like DMV service.
Yes.
Right. So we had a quick budget session in, earlier, I think, last year. And so we want to do another one.
Yes.
And really try to get a big turnout from the community.
Right. Yeah, we had quite a few people show up, but hopefully this will be a larger turnout.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that was the last item. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.